Joining us now to help us sort through all of this is Patrick Moorhead, Moor Insights Strategy founder, CEO, and chief analyst. Patrick, always good to see you. So we got the numbers, the initial reaction here in the after hours. Stock's under some pressure, Patrick, but walk us through the report. What do you make of the results?
Yeah, so first off, great quarter, right? They beat on the top line, they beat on the bottom line. Android handsets look really good. Automotive is still the juggernaut at a 59% growth. And then IoT, which likely will be the next major juggernaut for Qualcomm, up 27%. I think what people are responding to right now is that even though they hit the midpoint of guidance, right, the range was 9.9 to 10.7 on the forecast. Analysts had 1033, which is splitting the goalposts to the left side slightly, but it looks to me like an overreaction, and likely unless there's said something on the call that skews it one way or another, you can't look at this and say anything but good quarter and forecast.
Patrick, how should we think about Qualcomm's tariff exposure, especially given some of the exemptions that are in place?
Yeah, so first off, there's direct and indirect tariffs, right? Direct would be chips made overseas that are brought into the United States for final assembly, and that is very, very small. It is an infinitesimal amount. And then there is the potential for an escalation, or I would say the Trump administration saying, no, smartphones that are pulled in from Vietnam, China, and other places in the United States are no longer exempt. That could possibly be something in the future. But, if you're Qualcomm, you certainly can't play a worst case card into that. But right now, they look pretty good. There has been talk about, well, what if China retaliates? The challenge with China is they need Qualcomm for their smartphones because China can't build enough smartphone processors in China that hit that high performance, high quality mark to satisfy the Chinese consumers. So even though they do sell a lot into China, China needs Qualcomm.
What do you see ahead, Patrick, for automotive and IoT, especially given in the context of these tariff worries?
Well, overall, automotive as a market looks a little shaky, but when you look at the EVs, if you look at those higher end cars with ADAS, that is a very rapidly growing market segment that Qualcomm is growing with. So automotive overall is down as a market, but Qualcomm, I believe it's just going to be going and up and to the right. And the other part is their content play, right? They started off with connectivity, and then they went to dashboard, and then they're in ADAS. So not only are they capturing a higher percentage market share of each of those, they're capturing a larger percentage of the content overall for those cars in a market that is growing. And IoT is a collection of multiple businesses. It's consumer IT, it's industrial IoT, it includes PCs and either other AI accelerators. Those are areas where Qualcomm's are relatively new markets. They're markets that most of them are growing. And Qualcomm, again, I believe that this will turn into the next, IoT will be the next automotive business that we'll be talking about here in the next year or so.
Patrick, Cristiano Ramon's been CEO for nearly 4 years. He was named in June 2021. I'm curious, the anniversary is coming up here. You know the company, you know him. What do you make of his time so far? His strategy, where he's taking the company? Give me a grade on that.
Yeah, so if I look at the challenges that the company had ahead of it when he joined, which was companies not wanting to license or pay enough for licensing royalties, very, very top heavy with smartphones, Apple gaining market share. He came in and he executed on a diversification that is paying dividends. We're seeing it right now with automotive. We are seeing diversification and Android doing quite well, even though there's content inside of Apple that he has. He positioned the company where Apple can go to zero and the company can still grow a ton in these growth areas. And then, he's laid the groundwork for the next wave of growth, which is an IoT. So listen, I'm a hard grader, but you have to give him some variant of an A. I do know that the stock is, by any way you look at it, is a value. And I think the reality or the belief needs to, the gear needs to click in for people to see the IoT opportunity and believe that the company can execute on that.
Patrick, good to see you as always. Thank you so much.